Hi everyone, it's Danielle with Northlawn Flower Farms. Today I want to show you how to pot up dahlias early. Now it's about mid-April, it's actually Earth Day, it's April 22nd here in Zone 6B, and I can't plant my tubers out in the garden yet. It's just too cold out there. I have to wait until about Mother's Day to plant them out. But I can get a jump start on the season by starting all my dahlia tubers inside in pots. And I thought maybe you'd like to see how that's done if you have some tubers around. Now I've started some so you can see how this process works. I think I started this one maybe about 9 days ago. This one is Star's favorite. And then these ones, Arabian, I started just a few days ago and they just started to pop out of the soil. So I do have all these underlights, but I brought them in here so that you could see what's going to happen over the next few days. So this is really simple. All you need is a pot. This is a gallon pot. Just, so that any kind of pot so that your tuber will fit in there. Sometimes they're quite large, so make sure to have the right size pot. And it's just crucial that you have good drainage in that pot and a good quality potting mix. So let's get started. All right, so step one is to just moisten your potting mix, just like you would if you were starting seeds. You don't want your potting medium to be super dry. You want it to be moist, but of course not sopping wet. So since my bag is down pretty low, I can actually take it right over the sink, just add a little bit of water, and then mix it all around with my hands. I think a little bit more. That's nice. It's almost, you want the feel of where it just starts to stick together, but of course I wouldn't want it wet where, I would squeeze this and water would come out. That's too wet for any kind of seed starting. All right, that's great. So we only have to put just a little bit of soil into this pot. And don't worry if when you plant up this dahlia that it doesn't have to take up the whole pot, rather. Remember, we're just giving it a jump start on the season. It's only going to be living in this pot probably about 4 weeks max. So no need to waste potting soil. That's plenty. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, that looks great. So take a look at your tuber here. Now this one has actually started to grow in the packaging. So you have your tubers. This you're going to see on all your tubers. This is last year's stem. That's the top. And then you have the eyes, which sometimes are going to be a lot harder to see than this. But there's an eye. That's going to turn into a stem. And this eye's, started to grow in the packaging. So we want to get this guy potted up. So stem from last year at the top. Just set it down in there. And since, this guy did start to sprout in the bag, I'm going to have to help him out really gently and, pull him up as I pot. So now we're just going to fill in around with potting soil. And it's okay if, as they're growing and getting started inside, if they're a little bit off to the side growing, like even this one over here, I can fix that once I plant it outside in the garden. Always good to tamp the soil down so that you don't have any air pockets. And what I'm looking for here is that all the tubers should be nicely covered with snug, moist soil, and that this top stem here from last season is either just barely buried, under the soil level, or that I can even see it a bit like that. Either of those options are perfectly fine. All right, and after you do that, of course, you want to go ahead and stick a label in it, because you know, it's so easy to forget what you've planted, especially with dahlias. They pretty much look all the same until you really get into the season. All right, so at this point, and this is a little bit strange because this dahlia has already sprouted, but you know, when you normally would get a tuber in the mail, or you know, I like to buy my tubers from Roars, they're not going to have any stems at all coming out. You're just going to see that tiny little eye and no shoots yet. So if that's what you're working with, you are then going to stick this on a heat source. You can use a heat mat, the very sunniest, sunniest, is that a word? Yes, the very sunniest, warmest part of your house. Or if you're in an old house like me, we have old radiators and we're still running our heat. So the radiators are a perfect place for me to set this dahlia pot on those old radiators to give them base heat until they sprout. Now, as soon as they sprout and look like this, or this, or this, I am immediately going to take them off the bottom heat source and give them the brightest spot that I can. Now, I have grow lights, so all these guys are going under grow lights, but if you didn't have grow lights, if you have a south window that gets, you know, that really bright sun, that should work. And like I said, about mid-May here in zone 6B, I can harden them off for a week and then plant them out in the garden, and this will give me earlier blooms and sometimes even help me as far as you know, insect damage, because you know, insects love dahlias, and once they're off to a running start in the garden, it just kind of helps you cope with that. Well, that is all there is to planting up dahlias early inside in pots. I sure hope it was helpful. Until next time, happy gardening. Bye.